So in dealing with the book of Isaiah, we've got these two different time periods. And what I'm going to do is encourage you to think about the book of Isaiah as an art form that is a lot like, this is going to be a little bit weird, but I'm going to link you to this video. It's a lot like that mashup at the end of Pitch Perfect. Now, if you haven't seen Pitch Perfect, it's okay. I'm going to explain this to you. You may have heard before that you can take an old-fashioned song, an old school song, and mix it in with a more contemporary song. People do that, and it's called a mashup. And so when you kind of mix those two together, you create something new and different and wonderful. And that's what the Pitch Perfect song is. It's this new, wonderful song that is just so cool. And so I've linked that right along with this video. I'm not going to show it here, but you can take a listen to it. Now, what we have in the book of Isaiah is something similar to that. What we have is this literature that comes from the 700s BC, which has been mixed in with literature from the 500s. And so we've got a lot like with this mashup, we've got a song from the 80s in the mashup and then much more current songs from the 2000s. And they're mixed together to make something really cool. Same thing with Isaiah. What we have in the book of Isaiah is this beautiful poetry and these words from God that come to us from the 700s, and then later different prophets other than the prophet Isaiah, probably his disciples or something, added on to this poetry new prophecies that they were receiving from God that related to the 500s. And so what I'm going to walk you through right now are 4 pivotal moments that we have in the book of Isaiah, and you're going to notice that each one of these pivotal moments relate either to the 700s before the exile or the 500s as the exile is ending. All right, so our first pivotal moment is your favorite moment from the Deuteronomistic history, and it is the Syro-Ephraimite rebellion. If you've forgotten what that was, don't worry, you can either go back and look at it again, or I'm going to explain it briefly to you. So you remember, let's see if I can annotate this. You remember that we had, here's our hot dog that is Israel, and it's split in half at this point. This is in 735-ish. And in the south, we have Judah, and the king of Judah is Ahaz. And in the north, we've got another king. It doesn't matter who it is. Now, the northern king wants Ahaz to join him and the Syrians. I think I've got it. No. Syria is up here. As they rebel against the Assyrians, and that's not going to go well. And so Ahaz says, no, thank you. I would not like to rebel. So Israel and Syria begin to attack Judah down here. That's really bad. That is not pleasing. Nobody's happy. Ahaz down here is super sad. If you're thinking of emojis, then you think of you need to think of the saddest one ever. So we're done annotating now. So here, whoa. Hold on, wait for it. I'm going to get you back on track. If I can go through all of this again. Okay, so sorry. Here we've got Ahaz, the king. He's from the southern kingdom, and he's going to approach Isaiah and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. The kings to the north of me are attacking me. Could you please give me a word of hope for this situation? Now I want you to turn in your Bible to Isaiah chapter 7, verse 10. So we've got this story. And this is Isaiah speaking to Ahaz. Again, the Lord spoke to Ahaz, saying, ask for a sign from the Lord your God. Let it be as deep as Sheol or as high as heaven. But Ahaz said, I will not ask. I won't put the Lord to the test. Then Isaiah said, hear then, O house of David. He's talking to Ahaz here. because Ahaz is a king in the line of David. Hear, O house of David, is it too little for you to weary mortals that you weary God also? So Ahaz is like, I don't want to ask for anything from God. And God's like, oh, you're so annoying. Okay, therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is with child, and she will bear a son, and his name will be Emmanuel. Hey, you guys have heard this before. Do you want to know why? Because you've probably been to church at Christmas. At Christmas, this passage gets read along with one in Matthew to talk about Mary getting pregnant with Jesus. However, in this context, the Bible is not talking about Mary, and it's not talking about Jesus. Instead, Ahaz, this guy, is facing trouble because he's being attacked by these kings that want him to rebel against Assyria, which is a terrible idea. And so he goes to Isaiah for help, and Isaiah says, a woman is going to be pregnant, and she's going to have a son, and his name, you're going to call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. And a lot of times, the Judahite kings were thought of as God's presence with the people. So, therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is with child, and she shall bear a son, and shall name him Emmanuel. He shall eat curds and honey by the time he knows how to refuse evil and choose good. For before the child knows how to refuse evil and choose good, the land of the two kings who you are in dread will be deserted. So the king to the north, Syria, and the king of Israel. Those kings are not even going to exist. So what I want you to think about in your discussion board is how this prophecy, the prophecy in Isaiah 7:10, and I only took you through 15 or so, the prophecy in Isaiah 10, how that would have been helpful to Ahaz when Ahaz was facing all of this trouble from the northern kings. Importantly, I also want you to think of how this prophecy that we just read about in Isaiah is not actually about Jesus, even though later the author of Matthew is going to apply it to Jesus. It wasn't originally about Jesus. It was about another baby that was going to be born, and by the time that kid was old enough to eat like cottage cheese and honey, there wouldn't be any more trouble. I also want you to read the footnotes in the bottom, and that'll help you kind of understand what's going on here a little bit more. And I'll have some guiding questions for you on your discussion board. So do that. That is your first pivotal moment. That first pivotal moment in Isaiah is the Syro-Ephraimite rebellion. And notably, Isaiah, the prophet, offers a word from God that is comforting to the king. And here's the important thing about that comfort. Isaiah says, don't get involved in foreign alliances. Don't get together with these kings that are to your north that want to rebel against Assyria. Trust in God, and God will take care of this for you. Here's a sign. The young woman is pregnant, and she's going to have a child. So there you go. First pivotal moment. You've got it totally under control.